Hello, and welcome to another replay highlight. Well, it's a bit of a lie, because today we're going to be looking at two replays, two pretty much light armored pushes that you can do for the allies and for the Axis. And today I'm joined by a good friend of mine, PLK. So thanks very much for coming on.
Hello, I'm PLK.
And he's pretty much just going to be explaining how these rushes actually work and function. So the one we're seeing, it's a 4v4, and we're seeing a guards armored half-track rush. And you ready to go, PLK?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so on 3, 2, 1, play, and show's yours.
Okay, so basically have the most important part of the rush is the guards armored player in this part. You can see he has like all the half tracks in front, and he has one Sexton, and it's really important, like all his deployment points are the Sexton and the half tracks. He doesn't have any tanks in the beginning. Because you actually don't need any tanks to counter enemy tanks with this rush. Because what you do is you smoke very offensively with the Sexton, and then you just drive through the smoke that you create, and as soon as you hit enemy tanks, you dismount, and then the Piats of your mortar rifle infantry will normally take out tanks.
Okay.
And you try to move the Sexton up with your rush to be able to permanently smoke. That's like the spearhead of the rushes, the guards armored player, who also takes all the fire with his armored half tracks. And then you can see behind the guards armored player we have some recon vehicles from the French player. Like, you don't really need them, but they're nice to have. And then like at the end you have the unarmored vehicles of Mio, who I played one of first airborne. And basically you follow the guards armored player and you just garrison all the positions that you take in the rush, and you defend against counter attacks while the guards armored player basically keeps on driving.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty much it. Then you do like I defend like the middle of this map with like a skeleton crew of guards of AB rifles. They're really effective at ambushing players.
As we're about to see.
If you hold fire, and they can hold the side against, at least for a long time, with with a few units, because you either need like a lot of recon to take them out without taking losses, or if you rush, you take a lot of losses against AB rifle ambushes.
Yeah, because AB rifles are just solid infantry all around, as we're seeing them blow up all of these Somu tanks.
Yeah, I think that covers pretty much everything for the rush. Also important is to notice that there's a command unit together with the rush, so that you cannot get encircled, basically.
Would you say it's ready to counter this rush by chance, if you were to suspect it?
I mean, like, if you're suspecting it, you still have to guess where it's coming. I mean, there's obviously on some maps it's easier than on others to guess where it's coming. The important part of the rush is that we always aim for the enemy deployment points. And we like, if there's like a map where there's two enemy deployment points like close to each other, then that's like normally the side that we're gonna rush, because we can get both of those deployment points easily. And normally the way to rush it is, I mean, like, the issue is like the half tracks that we spam are really cheap, which is what makes the rush so efficient. They're like 40 points with the motor rifle inside them.
Okay.
Which makes like cost efficient countering in a one-on-one fight very hard. I think like the best way to counter it is like to push really hard on, like, because there's basically one player defending two sides effectively, because the guards armored player is like all mobile, and to not panic. Like, not panicking is like really important, and to basically let the half tracks drive through without engaging them if you can do that. So you don't take losses like in the initial breakthrough, and then you should try to like counter assault the entrenched airborne troopers to retake your positions.
So pretty much, long story short, you gather a lot of half tracks with a command unit. You just drive through, smoke all the enemy positions, and you get close enough with the motorized rifles to just pee at any tank or whatnot you come across.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
The thing is, like, even AT guns are not really a counter, because a single AT gun won't be able to stop this, and in most cases it doesn't even kill a single half track.
Yeah. And just like looking at it, you penetrate through one side and you completely capture the whole back end of the map, as we can see, which is pretty funny, I have to say, and even the rest of the map is going pretty well. So, does that pretty much cover everything, you think?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the really, like, the strong part about this rush is not so much the breakthrough as how efficiently you trade point-wise during the breakthrough.
Okay, and let's take us a look at how the Germans can do a similar rush. Hello, and we are back for the German side of things. So we are going to be witnessing a 21st Panzer 222/221 rush. And PLK, are you ready again?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, I'm PLK.
3, 2, 1, play. And show's yours.
Okay, so I'm playing Pegasus in this game, but we're mostly focusing on the 21st player in the middle of the screen now. And the differences from this rush to the allied rush is that you want to break through as well, but you don't really want to hold territory after you break through. You just want to get in there, kill as much as you can, and then get out again. And the composition of this rush is different in that you don't use half-tracks, but you use the armored cars Germans get. Especially 21st is great for this because of the Veterancy 2 SP222s and a lot of SP221s, which have only an MG, but are actually really important in shielding your SP222s from enemy fire. Since they both have the same armor values, most AT guns and tanks don't autofocus back on the 222s if they like aim in on a 221 first.
Because it's the same armor value,
yes.
It's going to be
so it's not like
random.
Perceived as a bigger threat. It's basically whatever gets to drive in first gets targeted. And the other advantage of this rush is that makes them really effective at killing entrenched infantry is that you have a lot of outplayers with you, and every time you suspect there's infantry near you, you just dismount one and you can immediately see them, as you can see. how this spring gun get cleared out.
They're like beacons that you can just place down.
Yeah, and that way you can clear out towns really fast. And this rush, you saw at the beginning, the Rasp actually killed a few units. The Rasp was really good placed and was probably a really efficient counter for this.
Oh, the Rasp, yeah. The Rasp flamethrower thing.
And now you see like this is like a really good situation, the breakthrough to the 25 pounder, which is like a really high value target for this rush.
It's 100
and you can see it basically immediately gets like deleted, and it will also, it's not only really a high value target point wise, but it also makes the life of the front troops a lot easier.
So really in general, so these are all like light vehicle rushes, what makes these so bloody efficient when done correctly?
The thing is, it's like you have like this massive force concentration of almost 500 points that only fights against small isolated enemy pockets like of like a few hundred points that are holding an area. And because of that you're able to like bring to bear like a massive disproportionate amount of firepower into like a small isolated unit.
Okay.
And that firepower concentration and the overwhelming numbers that you have lead to you having disproportionately less losses compared to your enemy.
Okay. So, I don't know, would this really work in a 1v1, or is this mainly just for team games, you think?
The issue is, like, especially for the 21st, like, you don't have any line-holding units.
Yeah.
Yourself. You're really, like,
use a commitment.
At the mercy of your teammates who need to hold the line for you, which I'm doing for the 21st play in this game with like, single Grenadier squads, as you can see.
Yeah.
All along the front line. In a 1v1, I think it could work against bad players, that you can catch off guard with this, but good players will be able to, like, take advantage of you not having your entire front line occupied.
Yeah, because in team matches, you just have your buddies helping you out.
Yeah, now we see like he's attacking from behind while I'm attacking from the front, which is like a really good strategy in this. If you have like a roaming half-track block behind the enemy lines, because you can kind of like grind enemy units to death between like two unit blobs.
Yeah, and this is
how you secure territory basically.
Yeah.
Like, you let the enemy attack, like, one of your defensive lines, and as soon as he's committed to attack, you strike him from the flank or from behind with the SP222s, and then you counter-assault and take ground.
And the AT guns are barely, like, putting a dent in your forces.
Yeah, the AT guns are really inefficient because of the HP system.
Yeah.
And they trade very, very inefficiently, because most AT guns only kill one half-track at most, if you know what you're doing.
Could you explain that
they're
HP
more expensive.
system real fast?
Okay, basically, every tank and every vehicle has a HP value. And every penetrating hit takes away from your HP value if it doesn't kill you right away. And the way the crit system right now works is you have a 25% chance of dying immediately to a crit if you get front print. That's the chance of rolling like the kill crit. From the side it's something like 40%, on rear shots is 50%.
Okay.
And every crit that doesn't kill you takes away your HP. And these SP222s, if I am not wrong, have 8 HP.
Okay.
And then AT gun makes 3 damage on a hit, at least the starting AT guns, the small ones. So you need on average 3 hits to kill this, 3 penetrating hits.
Yeah, 3 penetrating, not like critical kill hits essentially.
Yes.
Which is quite a lot for just like 2 armored vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the same thing for the half tracks in the previous Rust.
Yeah,
right?
yes.
So
and what you can now see is you can see that on the top side you can see 3 Shermans closing in on the half track rush.
Yep.
And that's actually something you want to avoid if you fight against this, because this is like the optimal response. This is like what you want to provoke if you half-track rush like this, is that the enemy buys medium tanks. because it's like a normal panic response because you think how I'm gonna deal with half tracks, and like the worst thing you can do is buying AT guns, obviously, because they don't trade efficiently, they're like not mobile. And then the second worst thing you can do is buying medium tanks, basically. Because the thing is, the medium tanks might help you against the half tracks, but they will really hinder you in the long run. Because this is an infantry division we're fighting, but you can see they have no infantry forces left anymore, and they used all their points to buy these medium tanks. And actually dealing with 3 medium tanks is a lot easier than dealing with like 7 entrenched rifleman squads, effectively.
Yeah, because you can just ambush the tanks pretty simply, with, as you're doing right now, with essentially the Panzerschreck.
Yeah. Because right now I'm playing Pegasus. This was like me trying out how Pegasus works, but the best combination that we found out so far is 21st and 12th SS, actually.
Okay.
Because you force the enemy into this medium Sherman tank play, and then as soon as B-phase rolls around, you get your Tigers and your Jagdpanzers that are like that are basically made to dispatch Shermans that you force the enemy into spawning. And you just avoid the Shermans with your light vehicles, and then you take them out with the medium and heavy tanks where Axis really dominates.
Yeah. And then
so you basically you force the enemy into like suboptimal play later down the line by doing this.
And then once you get later on, 21st, you can get some King Tigers, Pegasus, some Jagd Panthers, and because you whittle down all the infantry and you got them to buy medium tanks, that's a pretty easy counter. So 2 more questions before we end this off. Pretty much number 1. Would this really work against? Because you're playing as a team right now, essentially.
Yeah.
Would this work against another team? Because you are playing against randoms. To be fair.
In this game, actually, I know that Svelson and KM, which are holding the left side together, are like they're a team. Like they always play together. But I mean, and I we played against them before, so they kind of knew what to expect, I guess.
Okay.
But I mean, would it work against a good team or not? I mean, like a good team could just counter rush with their own rush, obviously. And that question is like really it's like interesting to know like what would win, like the SP222 rush or the half track rush. Although I'm betting my money in the SP222 rush because of the autocannons and kiting.
Yeah.
But it's a good question. Like against a good team, basically the best counter if you fight this as a team is not to try to engage the blob itself.
Okay.
But to mass your forces for your own breakthrough on somewhere on the line that must be lightly defended, because there has to be a weakness in the line of the team that's rushing this, and you have to find that weakness and exploit it with your own like really aggressive breakthrough.
And then just try to like pretty much contain the initial breakthrough, make out simmer down, and then just try to make your breakthrough much more breakthrough than the enemy, to be scientifically speaking. And
basically, the main difference between this breakthrough and the allied breakthrough is the allied breakthrough is there to take land, and it just trades efficiently as a byproduct. But this breakthrough is not there to take territory. Like you don't take territory by breaking through. It's only there to like kill units efficiently while you break through.
Okay. So
and then to exploit that weakness later on with like a main push with infantry forces or medium tanks.
And last question really is, okay, this is a bit cheesy. How could you think this could be balanced? Like, if you were to, patch a game, what would you want?
I mean, like, one of the main issues is obviously the HP system, which makes AT guns, which should be the counter to this, a really bad counter. The same also applies for handheld AT weapons, by the way. Like, Piats and bazookas only deal 1 HP damage, so you need 4 shots on average before you get the crit of killing a tank.
Okay.
Or killing the half track. So actually Piats trade incredibly inefficiently against this because of that. And I think the HP system needs to rework. Before the patch, there was a 75% chance of front panning. I mean, back then it would have worked as well, but you wouldn't be trading efficiently like you are now.
You'd be taking a lot more losses. And
yes.
It'd simmer out much faster. But because you have, like, what, a 1 in 3 chance really to die? Or
yeah, pretty much. I mean, against Piats, it's a 1 in 4 chance for all the Piat shots that hit you, which are not a lot. Yeah. Because we all know Piats.
Yeah. So you got like a 1 in 3, 1 in 4 chance for like each vehicle that gets shot at by an AT gun. If the AT gun was a hit to die, makes it much more tanky than it really should be.
Yeah, it makes it incredibly tanky. It makes AT guns really inefficient in their main role.
Okay, well, I think that pretty much sums everything up. Thank you very much for showing me this pretty cancerous, essentially like Steel Division helicopter rush. And,
yes, that's what it has been called by some people.
It's a Steel Division helicopter rush on the ground. And hopefully something will get fixed soon, because this is...
I mean, it has positive sides to it. Like, you get to fight in a lot of areas of maps that normally doesn't see a lot of action, which can make the game like more interesting again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, I think that covers everything. Thank you for joining me, PLK, and just take it easy, guys. Bye bye.